Mic check, 1 2 1 2. This is a recap of last night's most anticipated game between the Hardy 5v5ers Big Three versus the legendary Cineo and Peter Popoff's Popoff game. Should point out the Stu was a last-second sub for King Beef. Let's see if Stu can fill King Beef's shoes. The Hardy versus God Mode Tweaks Classic Rival was in full effect last night. And after it was all said and done, there were only a couple comparisons between the two teams. Both teams had 8 turnovers, and there weren't a lot of fouls. But there were an awful lot of contrast here. We could start with Cineo. Cineo flat out balled. He was 5 for 5 from 3 and was a great contributor at the power forward position. And Team Tweak had 0 turnovers. Those are the two only bright spots from the Popoff game. The 5v5ers, well, they came to ball. They outstocked. That's a combination of steals and blocks. They outstocked the Popoff gang 11 to 5. The 5v5ers had over 20 finishes at the rim. They out-rebounded the Popoff gang by 17. Great overall rim protection. The Popoff gang just didn't have an answer for the 5v5ers Big Three, which we'll talk about a little bit later, but we have to point out the Stu ran the offense like if Chris Paul wasn't a cone. He held Peter Popoff to single-digit assists and points, and at least 21 out of the 24 touches the Stu got, he dotted the right teammate for an assist. You can't ask more for a last-second replacement. He ran the offense like a true point guard last night. And now, well, before we get to the Big Three, let's talk about Burley. Man, Burley was a rebounding machine. His paint presence was absolutely game-changing, and the reason why the Hardy 5v5ers won the game, if you ask me. I said that. Moving right along to the Big Three. Let's point out that Dro was absolutely dominant in this game. Native was absolutely dominant in this game. Native matched the firepower for the Popoff gang's red-hot power forward. Every time Cineo scored a bucket, Native scored a bucket. It was like a classic shootout between those two. But Dro was going crazy, and the shooting guard from the other team didn't have an answer. And Hardy was going crazy. Yeah, his name's Hardy Go Crazy. And there was not an answer from the other team. I think the guy that was guarding him took 14 shots and only had 10 points or something like that. I don't know. Hardy took less shots. He took 1 less shot and scored 21 more points. I mean, that's just how he do people out there. I don't know. I'm speaking in third person because I am Hardy. Moving right along, man, the Big Three combined for 81 points. The 5v5ers Big Three combined for 81 points. Their floor spacing was amazing. They were absolutely efficient, 11 for 19 combined from 3, 76% from the field. Absolutely torched at the 2 and 3 position, and gave the point guard Stu, who was absolutely a bucket in his own right, gave him the day off from scoring. Yeah, man, the Popoff gang's point guard took way too many shots. They had 0 rim protection and not enough effort or girth on D. The major keys to the 5v5ers winning this game was the Popoff gang's poor spacing and lack of rebounding. When it's all said and done, the Popoff gang needs to keep recruiting. And as usual, Hardy own team tweaking the Classic 2K Rival. There's really nothing else to be said there. Here are the stats. Hopefully you guys were looking at the stats while I was talking. And from the 5v5ers to the Popoff gang, hold that L.